Hello, this is Joseph. While I was editing this, basically realized that we lost the last 30 minutes of Alex's audio. We're pretty sure we know what happened, so it won't happen again, but in this case, we lost it, so it's kind of a weird last 30 minutes to understand what's going on. Sorry about that. Enjoy the episode. Thanks. Yeah.
Alright. You ready?
Ready.
Give me a go for lunch now. Alright. Have you seen that, the intro to, not the intro, but it's like a scene, like I think it's Apollo 13, where they're sitting in the movie, like where they're sitting in the control room.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my god. Okay, so there's this really cool scene in the movie where they're like about to launch like a mission to the moon, and in the control room in Houston, they're like, all right, give me a go, no go for launch. And they just start running down like one by one each of the like sections. And they're like, oh, we're go for launch, go for launch. And it's just like a check off thing. And I've always wanted to like do that, but I have no reason to do a go, no go like that.
We can make the CI pipeline a totally manual process where it's all humans. There's no automation. So it's like I send off a commit and then Alex has to give the go. Like he has to radio into something and then we have to like give the go to deploy. You know, you can set up.
That would be pretty sick.
Yeah,
Actually,
and there's like a big red button to deploy, and then it all breaks because we wrote broken code.
Yeah, and then there's the Capcom, which would be you, because I think that's like the head controller of everything.
Capcom, I like that.
Capcom, we're go for launch. Capcom. Anyway. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 39 of Patch Notes, the Home Games Podcast. I'm Yazeed, and this is Joseph.
Hello, I'm Joseph, and we have a special guest / maybe normal person on the show / more frequent. Alex is here. Oh, God, he turned on the webcam right when I said that.
Is my camera working?
He's making a real entrance.
Hey.
Yo, what up? I'm Alex.
How's it going, Alex?
I'm stupid. Oh, wait, we're recording, aren't we?
We are recording.
Okay, wait, sorry. Wait, how many episodes are you guys in now?
This is 39, so this is technically the 40th episode.
Oh, shit. Do you think you've gotten a lot better at this?
I hope so.
Yes and no at the same time. Yes, because I think technically our skills have improved. Functionally, we're stupid, and we just completely sometimes Joseph and I just go off onto the weeds, and it's just what it is.
Yeah, we go off the rails sometimes, but I think overall we know more how to structure one of these, or how to like flow more naturally instead of like, all right, are we done talking about what's up now? You wanna? Oh
yeah.
So we kind of more easily flow. We still don't really, but it's getting better.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it seems like you guys can structure it pretty well, at least from the pre-recording talking.
Oh, the pre-recording talking is just a straight nightmare. For anyone who really is interested in it, it's not of any value at all.
Yeah,
it's not. This man was talking about cooming and guns. I
thought the reason we don't record that part, Alex.
I thought that was the actual podcast. Like, wow, you guys don't care anymore. We're just going at it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot a gun, and also I haven't beat my dick in 2 days. Thanks, Yazeed.
Remember when I said I think I could reel Alex in? I can't. All right,
starting off strong. No,
what's up, Joseph? What's happening? What's new?
Oh, not much. I've just been hanging out, enjoying some cold brew. I made a lot of cold brew earlier this week, so I've been going through it. I made a gallon. And it's mostly gone.
Fuck, you drink that in a day?
No.
How long have you had this gallon for?
This is day 3, and there's maybe a quarter left. So about a quarter gallon of cold brew every day, which that can't be good for me.
No, 100%.
Quarter.
No.
It can't be.
I mean, just from like an anxiety perspective with caffeine, that can't be good for me.
But see, it's like that thing of you're just constantly at 100, until on the level of like freaking out. So at a certain point, 100 becomes your 50, and then it's just kind of normal.
That's called a tolerance.
Yeah.
This man is just telling us he's going on a tolerance break for
before
anxiety.
one hit of crack used to hit me pretty hard, but now I'm smoking 10 bowls a day.
I have a question about cold brew. Is it literally brewed cold, or is it like you brew it hot and then chill it?
Well, yeah, you brew it cold. Well, you never it never gets hot, I guess, is the...
Yeah, if you like cook it or whatever, do it normally and then ice it. That's just iced coffee. But
What's the
cold brew is
difference?
like cold brew is like it's like more concentrated, I think, when you make it. It feels a lot stronger whenever I drink like the same amount of cold brew and iced coffee.
Yeah. There's a way, it depends on the measurements that you're using, but you can make a cold brew concentrate, which you're meant to water down. But it takes like 18 to 24 hours to make a batch of it, because you basically just steep the grinds in water and you don't touch it. Like, you maybe shake it up every now and then or whatever, but it's just a slow process, and it tastes less bitter in the end, less harsh, I guess.
Yeah, that's why you made a gallon of it.
Yeah.
I made a mistake once of I asked my old roommate to buy me like cold brew from Sprouts, and they got me this like big jar thing. It was like the chameleon one. I don't know if you've seen that in the store, but I was like, oh, thanks. Oh, it's the weekend. I can drink this at 7 p.m. I'll be fine. And I drank the whole jar, and like I don't remember when I realized it, but I looked at the empty jar at like 10 p.m. and that shit said concentrate on it.
Yep.
And that was the like most, oh my god. I think I ended up drinking a gram of caffeine total.
Is that a lot? That
yeah.
seems like a lot.
It's probably like near the fatal amount of caffeine.
You know how much is in
I think
one
it's 150
cup?
milligrams of caffeine in a cup, right? So that's what, 8 cups?
I think it's less than that. 1 8-ounce contains 70 to 140, or about 95 on average.
Okay, so then 10 8-ounce cups, so 80 ounces.
Yeah. I could hear my heart was like pounding out of my chest for like 12 hours straight.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and I was like rolling on the walls. I was just trying to expend energy, so I was like just caterpillaring across the floor and shit at like 10 a.m. the next morning because I hadn't slept.
Yeah.
And,
You do that
oh
anyway.
my
You have a
God.
horrible sleep schedule anyway. So that
Wait,
Okay.
hold on a second. But like, does doing activities actually like negate the effect of caffeine? Like, I thought caffeine on its own like just gave you an energy boost.
It'll help
Okay.
because caffeine. If you just like drink a lot of water and just try to like cycle through it as much as you can, then you'll like lessen it. If you just fucking drink coffee raw, like no water, no food, no nothing, you just take that shit, like it hits you way harder.
My mom sent me this video of this guy who I guess was talking about some college student who drank 3 gallons or 3 pots of coffee over the course of a couple hours and ended up in the ER because his muscles started to disintegrate and they were dissolving into his pee, so he was peeing out his muscles. And it was like this horrible...
Yeah, I watched that video. It's a YouTube video.
Yeah, his whole body like broke. I think it's like Chubby Emu or something like that on YouTube. But I couldn't watch it because every medical video, it makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, that one sucked. Oh yeah, rhabdo. That's what it's called when your like muscles break down into the blood. That shit fucks up your kidneys too.
I can't imagine. That stuff is terrifying.
Yeah, don't.
God dang.
I knew about that from like people that work out too much or do roids. They have that happen to them. Your body's just like, all right, I've had enough.
Well, because when you work
Get
out,
rid
you're
of this
breaking down your muscles, and it's just like they don't recover, right?
Yeah, that's like the extreme point of it, though. Like it should never break down into your blood like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that channel's really good though. That one that's from. It's like, what is it called?
Chubby Emu.
I don't remember the channel name, but all the titles are like, this guy fucked 5 women. This is what happened to his head. And like it's like that format. This guy or this person did this. This is what happened to his body part. And they're pretty entertaining.
But it's like
there's one that was like this kid. His mom fed him gummy multivitamins. Like that's what he ate all day. He just eating in Flintstones and nothing else. And
No,
I think basically his bones turned into like brittle, like weak ass shit.
Why?
And he just
surprised he
tripped
go-
and broke his entire arm.
What in a vitamin
I'm
causes
so
that?
surprised he didn't go blind, because I know like some vitamins, if you take too much of it, they just completely
Yeah,
ruin your vision.
it's like
your hearing, like
the fat
everything.
soluble ones build up, and I think it was like vitamin A or something. It causes like a chain reaction where it just like it stops calcium from staying on your bones, so they become really brittle. And yeah, it's always some weird chain cause and effect
Yeah.
like that.
Did you guys ever watch that show, 1,000 Ways to Die?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I wish they would bring that back. That was like, they were obviously like way over the top in their dramatizations of it, but that was so good. Like when that guy wrapped a sausage around his thigh to look like he had a giant wiener, and he died because he cut off circulation. It's the most clownish way to go,
Oh my
dude.
God.
The one that I remember most is the guy who wanted to be a mermaid, and so he made his own, like, I don't want to say rubber, but basically like a big like rubber tube that he fit in so he could swim like a fish. But he put it on too far away from the lake and ended up falling over and not being able to get back up again, and then died of heat stroke.
Oh my God.
Like he literally like cooked inside of the like rubber container that he made.
Jesus. I like how you laugh as you say he cooked alive.
Because on some level,
died
I
horribly.
feel like some of those are fake. You can't tell me all those are real.
I don't know, dude.
I like the one of the guy dying with the big schmeat though. That's a good one. He died respected. That's what matters.
What's upgrading MVP?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk about... So I'm in a weird position with my MacBook. So I have...
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
okay,
MacBook
alright.
Pro. So I've had my MacBook for
Oh.
6 years. It's the best laptop I've ever had, whatever, all that stuff, right? Like, I'm not going to buy another Windows laptop for work stuff. So Apple announced they're going to move all of their CPU architecture to ARM from now on. And I know I should know about computer stuff, but I really have no clue the difference between x86 and ARM. Like, whatever. And so it's this kind of weird choice of, do I buy a MacBook by the end of this year before they start moving everything over to ARM and kind of like avoid the risk of dealing with new Apple stuff? Or do I buy one like next year when I would really need one, you know? So I don't know what to do.
My advice is to wait because changing architecture is going to be weird.
I would say, I would kind of tell you to consider the Windows route just because I really like the Linux subsystem thing.
In that case, I would just install Ubuntu or something directly because I wouldn't
Okay, yeah,
want the
that's
Windows
fair.
anything.
Yeah.
Then you might as well just buy like a ThinkPad, wipe it down, and then just...
I thought of that too, but the MacBook build quality is so crazy. The fact that my laptop, I literally broke another computer with this computer, and this computer still works just fine.
What?
Remember when I told you I was stupid and I tossed my laptop onto my bed, and it hit my desktop and shattered it? Yeah, so there's like a giant hole on
We
this.
didn't break the
What?
computer, you broke the
You
case.
just
whatever,
fucking
whatever.
threw it?
Okay, I lightly tossed it. Lightly tossed
Okay,
it.
it's just like I lightly tossed you through a window. You can't lightly toss something that's big. Not to imply that you were big, but
Go ahead, keep going.
in sentence.
Oh my God, it's been a
I'm no
lot. I
longer
don't think I've
scared.
ever laughed to the point on the podcast where I did my I'm not breathing anymore laugh. The ones where I just don't make no.
Strong addition.
Hopefully, we'll kill you by the end of this.
There's a good chance. I don't know. I'd say wait because you know that once they switch to the new architecture, they're gonna have to, like, all the code they write is gonna get compiled into that new architecture, and they're gonna probably be doing like things to make that more efficient. They're gonna be making like taking shortcuts that will only work with that architecture,
Yeah, I guess.
like work better with that architecture. So I think like if you get one after they switch, your laptop will last longer than if you get one like functionally will last longer before.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I have trouble thinking that I'm just going to buy a new MacBook in like a year or two, and it's going to be a completely new architecture, and I'll just be able to move all my stuff over and have it all run, and like run home games and run all this other stuff. I have no clue. I don't know anything about computers, but that's just kind of my weird fear.
Yeah.
I mean, like the low level architecture shouldn't affect like high level functionality. What it should affect is like how like efficiency, right? Like depending on the architecture, you can do certain things way more efficiently. Like if they're running with like a MIPS architecture versus an x86 architecture versus ARM, like all that stuff is different.
Different,
And there's
sure.
different shortcuts you can take.
I just have no clue. Like, I have a coworker who sent me a thing about how Docker, I guess, is going to have some sort of performance hit, but that I read another thing that it won't. So I guess I just need to read about that stuff. I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people aren't sure how it'll go down yet.
Yeah.
Since, like you said, it's a year and a half out, right?
They
Before
said
they do that switch.
I think I saw a rumor that like the newest or the next MacBook is going to come out at the end of this year or early next year. So.
Okay.
I feel like there's no way that like high level stuff would be affected because like Linux runs on any like low architecture. Like you can run Linux on pretty much whatever you want. So if Linux can run on whatever you want and you don't see like high level issues, I don't think you'd see Mac, which has like real money behind it, having any issues.
I don't know. You could see some issues depending how it goes down. I know, like, I've had to do continuous integration shit with like I needed to build a Mac project and just a Node project, and you can't like build an Xcode project on anything except a Mac, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the CI tools get affected by that, and you have to jump through stupid hoops, like put your stupid provisioning and profiles and stuff up, like hook it up to the thing. So I'm worried of like more shit like that happening, or the current ways that like CI tools deal with that breaking, because it's already annoying, and it just sounds like it's gonna get more annoying when they switch over to a new architecture.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess.
But honestly, just be a Linux alpha male.
That's the dream.
Like we all should be.
I think
it really is.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it, but now that I have the Windows subsystem, I've been doing all my committing in Vim, and I feel like a disgusting neckbeard, but I kind of like it.
Dude, Vim. Joseph and I have talked about this kind of at length. If I could just write my code in Vim, I would. 100%.
You can.
I think this one like. Nah, I'm too stupid. It would take me too long to like figure out how to do all the stuff I can do in VS Code in Vim.
Yeah, like it's.
Like the hits of productivity would be significant, basically.
It is. I'm like 4 times slower than I would be with Sublime or something, but I feel like 8-9 times cooler, so it weighs out.
Yeah. I think I have to hop like servers a lot because we use Azure in my job, so I'm just like breaking in and Vimming shit, or nanoing stuff, or doing whatever. One of those terrible editors, or good editors, but terrible for my small brain.
Yeah, I think like the real like not alpha male, but like alpha developer thing is just to like have a Linux box that you remote into and you only ever write code in Vim.
I think that's like Chad level probably, but then there's Emacs users, which is the alpha like super mega Chad, because I know a real life Emacs user. I've actually met 2 in my life, and they were both like way beyond me in their that whole realm.
Vim is Chad, Emacs is Thad. Just unreachable thunder Chad, cannot be touched. I fear anyone who fucking uses Emacs regularly. Like, you really have to defy God to just like do that. You don't care about him at all.
Yeah, one of the guys I know who uses Emacs runs like an actual terminal shell within Emacs. Like everything he does is within an Emacs session. I have no idea how he's doing it, but then he's like controlling all the window sizes and stuff with his key bindings, and it's really impressive.
Good Lord.
The man like wrote an operating system in Emacs and is using what?
Yeah.
On my end of things, I wanted to mention this kind of early on. Sapphire passed her exam.
Oh, nice.
On Sunday.
Yeah. So, what did you actually have to do?
So basically, like one at a time, they'd tell you like what command you're going to do, and then one at a time they would watch you, and each person would have to perform that command. So they'd be like, your dog has to sit, and so they would like go down the line, and then it'd be your turn, and you'd be like sit, and then they would sit, and you give them a treat, and they're like, all right, cool, and then they do that for every command that we're supposed to know. And at the end of it, Sapphire like can do all of them, I know, but 2 of them she really struggled with for no real reason. One is to like you call them to you and you ask them to sit and you grab their collar. Basically, it's like if they run away from you, which I've had to deal with in the past, but she never has her collar on when she does it, so whatever. But yeah, so she didn't want to sit when she came back to me, so it took a little bit of coaxing, but she finally did, and they're like, okay, cool. And the other one is that she likes one of the instructors quite a bit, because she has the best treats, I guess. And so when you're supposed to have them like sit by your side and like be greeted and just to like accept that they're being greeted and not to like jump on them or like go up to them, she just walked up to her and leaned against her and was like, I love you, pet me, feed me treats. Just like, you're going to pass this one because she didn't jump on me, but technically she's supposed to stay by your side. And I was like, it had to be you who did this. Like, any of the other instructors she would have been fine with, but you, she likes you too much.
Did any dogs fail, or did you see the other dogs doing the test?
Yeah, we got to watch some of the other dogs do the test. The one who came closest to failing struggled with like everything, but eventually got everything. So like, it's like her dog was like, didn't want to sit, and then eventually she got it to sit, and they're like, okay, like they had to like come around the circle and like jump her and then come back and like watch her again, basically, for almost all of them. But her dog also is like super shy around other people. Like, she's in class, the dog struggles quite a bit because it's just kind of a shy dog. But yeah.
What's this test for exactly?
So I did a obedience school with her. So this was just like the beginner level course. But yeah, it's like she's certified as an beginner level obedience dog. I think through like the AKC or something, like the American Kennel Club, like their obedience branch, whatever it is.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I was nervous about that going into the Sunday, because the other thing too is that I'm not very good with dates, in case people don't know. So I ended up booking a grooming appointment for her in the morning, and then in the afternoon it was the exam, so she didn't have like regular feeding or regular sleep or anything. I wrecked her whole schedule going into this, so I was like, oh god.
When you said you weren't good with dates, I thought you were switching subjects really fast. Misinterpreted that.
Shots fired, I guess.
Nice. So are you going to continue
cool.
with the obedience school, or are you kind of done with the basics?
I want to go to intermediate at least, because intermediate deals with distance, duration, and directions. And the distance one is the one that I'm interested in, because if she gets off leash, it's hard for me, because I like, on some level I'm not as fast as her, and I don't think I have the endurance as her anymore, so like she's gonna outpace me always, so I need to be able to like reel her in once she calms down if she slips her collar again. Also, if I want to do search and rescue with her, which I do, she's not gonna be on a collar, so I need to be able to control her with some distance between us. So there's that. So I'm gonna do intermediate, and that starts on the 2nd. So
nice.
In the 2nd, I'll be doing intermediate level.
I can't imagine Pepper listening to me like at all. She broke a vase earlier this week just because she was so hyped about the ball that we were throwing. She wasn't looking, but she broke a vase. And then Sapphire's making an appearance because she heard her name being mentioned.
She's a real good girl. I'm teaching her what nose means. Wait.
What nose means?
When I say what nose, when I say nose, I want her to bump my nose with her nose. And we're getting there. I say nose, and she looks at me, but she doesn't like when I put my face that close to her yet. It's a process.
Maybe she just doesn't like it. You're just.
Well, it's she doesn't not like it. She just like shies away from it sometimes. Sometimes she's like all about it, because she bumps me in the face when I'm sleeping, and she needs my attention. Sorry, 1 second. Joseph, do you want to talk about...
I had video game updates to talk about. So one of them is I uninstalled Modern Warfare because I hate that game, and I haven't had fun playing that game in a long time. So I figured...
Wait, the old...
No, the newest one.
Like the original?
The
2019.
Warzone? Yeah, the one that has Warzone in it. But I had like the full thing installed because I was playing multiplayer every now and then. Every time I open that thing, it's like a 50 gigabyte update, and then I play it, and then I get killed by people who are camping, and then I don't have any fun, and then it's like 30-40 minutes, and I turn it off, and I do that every single time, and I finally freed myself from the chains, and I uninstalled Modern Warfare, and it feels pretty good.
Oh my god.
Also, Alex, I don't know if I've told you, but I started going through my Steam library to just play games like rapid fire, playing games I've never played before. I have like 750 that I've never touched that I own in my Steam library. And so I've just been moving through them, and I went through. My plan last week was to go through 50 a week, just to play like 5 minutes of a game and then move on. But even that would be like 4 hours a week, so that seemed kind of like unrealistic goals. But I went through like 30 this week, and I don't remember any.
Yeah, I don't worry about the backlog, because our backlogs are the same pretty much.
Yeah, because we share on Steam.
Yeah, since I steal your games, but I if I don't feel like it, I just don't. Like, sometimes I go weeks without even touching a game on Steam.
I respect
And some
that.
days I play the entire thing or play Resident Evil 2 remake over again for like the 5th time.
Or Dark Souls. That's your like go-to.
Oh yeah, I haven't played Dark Souls in a long time though.
I just started playing
Oh,
Remastered
actually.
this past week. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, well, they didn't change that much in that one, right?
No, it's basically
never played
like
that.
DS fix, and then it looks a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the the Demon Souls remake
Yeah.
because that looks like a real ass remake.
Yeah. You're gonna get a PS5?
Oh fuck, I don't know. I got PS4. I got a PS4 for one game before, but like I really wanted that game, and I don't have that for the PS5. And also the PS5 is kind of ugly as fuck.
I think it looks pretty cool. I mean,
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it looks.
I mean, it
different.
looks unique.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll give you that. But I don't know. Maybe if I could put the PS5 in a PS4 case, and then if there's a game I actually really wanted, but I don't think there will be.
What about? Yeah, I don't know. I guess Demon
Like-
Souls is that game for me.
What about the new Uncharted and like the Uncharted that they're gonna release for it and stuff? I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of games for 5 that'll be fun.
Yeah, like those games would be fun, and I would like to play them, but they're not enough for me to justify buying the console.
When Uncharted,
Like, I only buy early if I'm really overly hyped for some dumb shit.
when Uncharted 4 came out, you came over to my house and then played it in like one sitting, and then you were like, "Yeah, I don't need to buy a PS4. I've got you."
that happened with me in Bloodborne too.
Yeah, yeah. You just used me for my video games. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I played every hit PS4 game on your thing. It's a good way to go.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's just too much money. Like, I can't justify it. Like, if I'm not gonna play the absolute shit. Like, the one game I bought, I played it for 120 hours.
What was
So,
the
What
game?
did you buy?
Oh, it was Persona 5. It was some weeaboo shit, but
Isn't that on
I like
Steam
the other
now?
ones. The Persona 4 is,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But that game came out in, like, 2009.
Yeah. It was a Vita
it's a
thing,
bit
right? Or
dated.
it was big on the Vita.
Yeah, that's the Vita version, which is, like, I don't know, 30% more content or some shit.
Yeah. I've been trying to get into
50%
Persona.
more content.
Yeah, they had like a golden edition of Persona 4 where they put more stuff into it, and then that was it just a Vita thing, Alex? I don't know.
Yeah, Golden was only on Vita for a long time. It was, like, the only reason to buy a Vita.
Yeah, I have a Vita and that game, and I never played it, so it's like it's the thing I do, where I'm just like, oh, I'll play this one day. And I just
You get the one reason to do it, and you don't do it.
yeah,
Joseph's got that hoarder mentality around a lot of things, and games is one of them.
I really
where He's
do.
like, I'll eventually want to play this, and so he'll get like everything for it.
I spent all.
I'm waiting for Joseph to actually get into like racing sims and like get the whole racing set up, especially now that he has like his own house. Like I imagine like he's gonna have like the multi-panels, like the racing car chair, and like the little steering wheel with a gear shift and everything.
Tynan has that set up. Streamed
does he?
himself
I
doing
did
that
not know
before.
that.
Yeah, I just see him racing in his fucking chair with his wheel, shirtless. I'm like, oh great, now this is fucking content. And he crashes into a wall and like, dude, I turned. He's crying at every corner. It's really funny.
I feel like Rocket League would be really fun in one of those setups.
It'd be really hard.
Rocket League? You can't play Rocket League with a fucking steering wheel. That'd be terrifying.
If everyone was playing with a steering wheel, then no one would aerial, so it'd be like...
If everyone was disabled, they'd be on equal footing. That
That's
shit would
what
be.
I need.
Can you imagine like playing Rocket League first-person driver mode? You
That'd be
just
pretty
vomit.
fun.
It'd be impossible to understand what's going on.
Yeah, I would throw.
No,
up
come
instantly.
on. You can play Rocket League first person.
Just to like keep your orientation, it'd probably make you feel sick.
Yeah,
It's like it's just regular soccer, but with cars.
But you're doing 360s and donuts in the air.
yeah, you do 360s with the fucking jet boost when you play soccer.
You need like a joystick maybe to play Rocket League first person, but you see my point. I think it'd be fun. We should try it.
It'd be interesting. No, we shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't approve of that.
I missed the part. Why did you quit? Like, why did you uninstall it? Modern Warfare?
Because it's never been fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just not fun.
Well, I've been thinking about like shooting games a lot recently because I've been playing Valorant every fucking day.
Yeah.
And you really like when you go into it, do you go like in a brain off mode, like I want to rush, shoot people, get endorphin, like you're
Yeah.
chugging your cold brew or your crack or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that gets really old really fast for me now.
Yeah,
Like I can't do that.
it took 12 years, but it's starting to get old for me too. But like, I was so into that stuff. Just just go and aim at dudes. It's all just reflexes, just testing your reflexes. Are you faster than most people? And it's like, yeah. But then if you go to Modern Warfare, it's all, people playing to win and not to have fun, which is they're not the same in Call of Duty. And so yeah, it's just not a fun time. You just camp or you play.
Yeah, so you're like in the camp that wants to like mess around and have fun, right?
Yeah, I would say.
But everyone's like camping corners and try harding.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to try hard and want to win, like to be focused on the game and to want to like get your kill streaks or whatever you're doing in the game. But it's another thing to play however you want to call camping in a not cool way,
Passively.
Yeah, I guess it's cheap. It's a cheap, not
like
fun.
ultra defensively, like not even a neutral way of like occasionally moving, but like literally just sitting.
It's like, yeah, it's like you're cheesing the game. It's like if someone plays a fighting game with you, and then once the thing starts, they just back into the corner and crouch, and they wait for you to do something so they can uppercut every time. It's like,
Or playing Mario Kart with your friend, and then they turn off the TV because they can still see what's going on. No, fingers pointed here, but Joseph.
Oh my god.
that was one time. But yeah, no, I don't know. It wasn't very fun, and I started playing some other stuff that was pretty interesting. But the one thing I really liked this week was Last of Us 2. I finally started playing that, and I'm like maybe an hour and a half in, and it does that thing where it assumes that you know a lot about what's going on when it starts, and and I kind of do. I mean, I played Last of Us 1 when it came out, which at this point was like 7 years ago, and I beat it and I really enjoyed it, and I generally remember the story. But the start of this one is like, I guess it was a DLC that happened for Last of Us 1 that I never played, but it kind of bridges this gap between the second and the first game, and they reference something like this event and these characters quite a bit in the beginning, and I'm kind of just like, it's like I never played the first game. It's like you're watching the second movie with no real idea of what happened in the first, except someone just told you like the one sentence summary. So I don't know how much of the story is like intentionally being vague, so I have to figure things out myself, or if it's all like I should know this. But the game itself is super cool.
Yeah, I think that there was a bit of exposition in the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Though I didn't play it either, so I don't know.
Specifically with Ellie and that other girl, Dana. Anyway. Dina,
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. You have no idea who they are if you only played the base game.
Yeah, which is where I'm at. So.
I like when games have games like that they have like I think Yakuza did it.
Like a last
they have
time.
a button that's like, here's what happened, and it's like a fucking anthology of everything that's happened. I'm like, okay, I'm going in blind. I can't take this. I don't want to read this.
It'd be faster to play the original game instead of watching their 30-hour cutscene.
Yeah, I mean, ideally they give you like a short, rundown of who these people are and why you should care.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they do that in that game.
Well, I started on.
I didn't YouTube the whole thing. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yakuza 0, I started playing that, and I'm only maybe 2 hours into that as well, but I already forgot like 14 subplots in that, so Yakuza kind of needs that stuff, because...
Is that the one with the chickens?
Yeah.
Is it with the chickens?
Yeah, that's where you can have like a chicken as a manager. That's probably what you're thinking of.
Okay,
to like run your businesses.
Cool. Oh.
But
yeah, all right.
yeah, that game does have a lot going on, especially if you're thinking of the sub stories, which are just like the side quests. But those are all like self-contained at least.
No, I mean when it's like, oh, this guy did something. Okay, let me go talk to this guy. No, it's not this guy who's the bad guy. It's this guy who's the bad guy, and there's this whole other thing happening over here. Meanwhile, this is the main conflict, but this is the real conflict, and these are the main people. But no, these are really. It's like you got to keep following it, and there's like a thread that you kind of have to go. You kind of have to follow from the beginning.
Yeah, they do that a lot. A lot of characters like flip-flop too, and they're good or bad or gray or whatever. So it gets really hard to keep track of, especially when I don't like remember the names. I can only remember the faces for like the first couple of hours.
Mhm.
The intro is like really confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it starts making sense. It starts narrowing down like the point of the plot after the beginning.
It's a cool game. I just wish I don't know. There's so many cool games that I want to spend all my time playing, you know, but I just want to keep moving between them. But at least I'm playing games at this point instead of just buying them and keeping them in a collection.
Yeah, that's true.
But like God of War is one of them too. I think it all started with Horizon, that PS4 game, the one with the robot dinosaurs.
Oh, Zero Dawn.
Yeah. I bought that game, started playing that game, and then never finished it. And then that was like the real thing I can remember where I really didn't play many games to completion after that. And that was years ago at this point. So I'm kind of like, I got to get back into it. I don't know. I think
maybe you're just not a completionist anymore, man.
I think maybe I've realized that I can't be this old and still play games like that because I'll never get through the games I want to play. You know? It's like I can't play GTA 4 to 100% or GTA 5 to 100% anymore because that's the kind of stuff you do when you're 14 and you got one game this year, you know, or like this past 3 months.
Yeah, I don't think I've 100% of the game in a long time. Like, I have no desire to.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think I've ever 100% of the game, just to put that out there.
Like, it really does have to be the only game your mom bought you that Christmas or some shit for you to really want to do that. But nowadays, it just feels like a waste of time. Like,
yeah,
just give me the core shit and let me leave.
And I guess, yeah, it's an interesting thing because, like, feels like a waste of time is nuts for something that's supposed to be fun, you know? It's like, I don't know, if I'm spending this time 100%ing a game, if I like the game enough, that should be worth my time. Like, it shouldn't feel like a waste of time. But then every game is kind of like, collect all the puzzle pieces or whatever, and you end up on an IGN guide or something, and you're just like, this is not the game.
Yeah, and there's like 780 of them, and you're like at 740, and you're like, where are the others?
Yeah.
And they're just like, find them.
Yeah.
And then when you look on the IGN guide, you're the only person looking for them. So you're like, all right.
Yeah.
It's like the dude who, I don't know if you guys followed the Shadow of the Colossus dealio, but there was like a dude who was like pretty convinced there was an extra boss, or like there's a group of people who were convinced there was an extra like Colossus for you to fight. And they spent years looking through every single inch of that world. Like, every single inch they went through. Like, places that people thought were, like, completely, like, you were never able to get to them. Like, they found ways. And at the end of it, they found that there was no extra Colossus.
I think a lot of that died with the internet.
Yeah.
Because, like, before, people would be like, bro, put your ding-dong in Oddjob's mouth in GoldenEye and you'll unlock the secret level or some shit like that. And sometimes there was stuff like that, so it like made it exciting to try to like crawl through every stupid square inch of a game like that.
Yeah.
The thing is that they did this when it was still popular. Like, the internet was still there. Like, they had forum posts about people like doing this, and like they grouped up together so that no individual person was trying to go over the whole map, but like groups of people were like sectioning it off and stuff.
Yeah, but I think back
like
then it was just organizing them to like talk about it. But nowadays games will just get straight up data mined.
Yeah.
You know, like they'll go just rip that like every file apart to figure out what's in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
like to get into data mining games. I think it'd be kind of interesting to see like all the Easter eggs and stuff.
Yeah, it's like when people, it's like a skill I don't understand. People are like, oh yeah, I got the game, the binary, and I parsed all the text out of it. Here's all these messages, and here's how I found like this hidden boss and hidden features and hidden stuff, and they're doing that within hours of the thing being available. It's like a different type of nerd or whatever that it is. But it's cool.
Yeah, I'd love to get into that though. That seems like it'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Like, just rip everything apart. Like, to undo a world that's some like in like a weird way, like anti-god. If like the developers are the gods who created the world, you're like the anti-one. Like, you just ripped it all apart to like see how it all worked.
Yeah, I get that. That's like how a lot of people, or not a lot of people, I guess, I don't know, but I've heard from developers who were like, yeah, I just played a game, you know, on my computer 20 years ago or whatever, and realized I can change the text messages in the game by just like searching for text I had seen and then changing that text, and so it came up in the game, and I realized I can modify the game by just doing what was like basic. And it's like how that whole thing got into someone's head, and now they make games for a living or whatever.
The only time I've ever done something like that is there's an old game called Rome Total War 1, and you can randomize the start locations for all of the factions, or not randomize, but you can like literally like change where factions start in the world, and it makes the game like totally new and unique, because like if instead of Rome being in Italy, Rome is suddenly in Britain, like how does that change how the rest of the world works? And like Britain is now like the like the barbarians in Britain, like the Celts or whatever, are now in Italy. Like how does that change like the power dynamics of the Mediterranean stuff? I know, it's kind of cool, but that you have to like manually go through and change like files and stuff.
That's
That's
history nerd stuff on top of nerd stuff. That's impressive.
The Total War series is one of my favorites, but I think you would hate it.
I think I have it on my Steam library unplayed, but I don't know. I think again, it's like the kind of stuff that I wish I could get into. I don't think there's really any genre of game that I don't like even like point and click adventures and stuff like that. I think I enjoy. I just, when am I going to play a point and click adventure? You know what I mean? I got stuff to do.
I think I know what genre you don't like.
Which one?
That hunter game I made you play with me.
Hunter.
Where we could only shoot the one turkey that never spawned.
Oh dude, I bought that game.
No, you did
not. I bought that game.
No, you did not. Come
Check
on,
my library. The Hunter.
Me.
The Call of the Wild. I bought it.
Oh my god.
Because so Yazeed and I played this game a long time ago. It was a free to play hunting game, and we just thought it'd be fun to give it a shot. And we tried it, and then we both tried to shoot animals, and we didn't know how to do it. We couldn't figure out the buttons to shoot. And then eventually we saw a turkey, and I tried to shoot the turkey, and then a little pop-up came up once I pulled the trigger, and it said, "You need to spend real money to be able to shoot turkeys." And I was like, fuck this game.
Oh my god.
But then recently, I think they redid their business model, because I don't think that's how they do it anymore. So they sold like a $20 pack on Steam of like some whatever stuff. So I bought that because I like hunting games. So just a fun side note, you know?
That's super funny. I also remember how you made a person leave the game because you yelled at them.
Oh man, I do that so much. I'm like a bully. I did that again recently on Gears this past week, and I told Synovia about what I did, and she's like, you know, that person is probably 12 years old, and you probably like really hurt their feelings. I was like, oh
my god.
I guess so.
No, dude, 12-year-olds aren't playing Gears.
They certainly are.
Oh yeah, the kids are playing everything. There's kids all over Valorant.
Yeah, kids have taken over the world, dude. Kids are the worst. like in particular, like a Call of Duty or something like that, you're probably playing with mostly children. As in under 18 children.
Plays, I know. That's kind of odd. I never thought about that way.
I had one more thing I wanted to talk about in What's Up before we go to home game stuff, if that's cool with the group.
I have one more thing also, but go ahead.
What? Oh, your spooky YouTube. Well, you go. Yeah. You go then.
Oh, okay. So recently I've been watching hours and hours of animated spooky stories on YouTube. And like so many of them are so dumb. Like one of them that really sticks out in my mind is this I hope fake story of this 16-year-old guy who thinks he's talking to like a hot lady, like a hot single in his area or whatever. He ends up going to her apartment because they're dating, and so he shows up at the apartment. There's this dude there, and he's like, "Hey." And then she's like, oh, hey, he's like, I don't know, like Lisa here? And he's like, yeah, come on inside. And then eventually he figures out that there is no Lisa. And the story ends, no joke, with him punching this man in the face and knocking him out for at least 15 minutes while he calls the police and the police show up. Now, I don't know how much people know about this, but before boxers wore gloves, they almost never punch people in the face because you're more likely to break your hand than to break their face. That man, if he punched somebody hard enough in the face to knock him out for 15 minutes, probably could never use that hand again. Like, he probably broke every finger in that hand. Like, just stuff like that just, like, blows me away that people are like, this is what horror is like. It's like, no, that's like a r/that happened kind of thing. Like, that happened. Like, you punched some random dude in the face of a 16-year-old and knocked him out for 15 minutes with one hit. Like,
maybe it was a big, like, open hand smack that can do some real damage, and you're not really
They like the slap fights and
Yeah.
stuff, but like people don't get knocked out for 15 minutes. They're knocked out for like a little
Yeah,
bit.
but they train for that stuff. You know, if you're just some
Yeah.
dude pretending to be a girl on the internet, you probably aren't training like that.
That's true. But the kid is also a 16-year-old who probably hasn't trained to slap somebody hard enough in the face to knock
Yeah, but in that moment of just like, oh god, this man can kill me, you could probably smack a guy
No,
pretty
listen.
hard.
Adrenaline probably added to his like physical ability to deal damage. However, adrenaline does not take away from your physical ability to take damage. Like if he hit him hard enough to do that, he probably took significant damage from the hit, is what I'm saying. But there's like a bunch of like just stories like that where like miraculously there was another one where this dude goes to like a bar that he's never been to before and they dip a pentagram into his wine and the wine turns a different color and then he finds himself in a hospital later and it's like, ooh, I wonder what happened. And then it's like, and then I was taking a shower and my back was stinging. When I turned around, there was a pentagram in my back and I was like, the story is like missing a lot in terms of like structure and quality. The ones that really get to me though are the ones that I think are more realistic, like the breaking and entering ones, or like you were on a walk late at night and you ran into somebody and they were just kind of a creep person.
Yeah.
Like those ones really probably did happen. There's one about a young lady who was on a run in a like a school run race, not racetrack, but like, you know, like a track.
Right.
And there was like another lady there who was like weirdly too close to her the whole time, like running like kind of close to her the whole time. And then eventually like the lady like catches up to her and is like puts her hand on their shoulder and is like, hey, listen, I can't run anymore. Like physically I can, but I wanted to stay here with you because there's like two dudes under the bleachers over there just watching the track. And she was like, I don't think so. And then she looked over and there were in fact two dudes just like staring at them the whole time. Like stuff like that, like that's, I don't know about horror, but that stuff's like probably legitimate. Like things like that probably did happen or it could happen.
Yeah, it's not horror, but it still gets you because it's like just scary because the world is scary.
Yeah,
People
a
are
little bit.
scary.
It also makes you realize like, one of the things that made me realize is like because I'm a consistent person, like that makes me an easier target for people. So yeah, a little bit of the fear for that is just realizing that I'm not immortal and immune to these things.
Yeah.
I'm probably never gonna be catfished and be required to punch a grown man in the face and knock him out for 15 minutes. So you know,
Probably, but not definitely, you know, so you still gotta practice those slaps.
You never know.
every day I'll train by punching a board. And I get progressively thicker boards so when I punch that guy in the face, I don't immediately lose the ability to write code.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I went down a rabbit hole of like unsolved mysteries one night and it freaked me out because it was just like, yeah, you know, this guy was on the phone with his wife and then just wasn't. No one ever found him. It's like, oh shit, that's real, you know? Like that's horrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
He was
like,
there,
the
then
unsolved
he
mystery
wasn't.
ones are like, those ones kind of are scary too.
Yeah.
The ones that are like, and then there was a skinwalker. And then you're like, oh yeah, but like earlier in the story you said you were in England and there's definitely no skinwalkers in England.
Is that like a zombie? What is a skinwalker?
It's a I think it's a Navajo legend of like a evil shaman who becomes like a coyote or like an animal and then eats people, presumably.
I thought it was like something that, well, usually the stories I see about them, it's like people are in the woods with their friends. One of them disappears for a little bit, and then it comes back, seeming weird or like acting weird.
Oh yeah, that's
And
the
like
other
the
side.
idea is they like steal their skin, and they just look like them, but it's like a murder monster thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that.
but like they're like super specific to like certain Native American tribes, and then like people just apply that like willy nilly. It's like the funnier one was like, I was in England in the forests of England. I was like, interestingly, in England there is no public land. Like somebody owns all that land. The fact is that like there's no chance that there's a skinwalker in England. People have been everywhere in England. Like there's no like untamed wilderness. Literally, there's like no untamed wilderness in all of Europe. In England, sorry.
I did not
Like
know that.
all that is planted garden basically. It's like no, come on, guys.
Yeah, if they would have said in Wales, I would have believed it.
Maybe Wales, yeah.
There's
but,
bound
like,
to be some skinwalkers in there.
the sheep walkers. Anyway, Joseph, sorry to cut you off. You had one more thing you want to talk about.
No, yeah, my last thing was just, have you guys ever done an escape room before?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was your experience like? Did you enjoy it?
I've done like 5 in my life, and they all vary wildly based on the group I'm with.
Did you do it with like coworkers?
Like, they're
and stuff?
not consistent. Wait, what?
Did you do it with like coworkers or friends?
Both. Mix. Sometimes just coworkers, sometimes just friends.
I did it with family.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was actually kind of it was funnier in the family one because one of the challenges is like there was like a set of keys really far away, and each room like we in the beginning like there's like groups of 2 locked in individual rooms, and you're all given like a pipe, and you're supposed to like realize you can like screw the pipes together and like grab the keys off the thing. My brother's so tall, he just took ours and got the keys off, and we literally just skipped that challenge completely because they didn't like account for somebody like that tall was capable of doing this.
Oh my god.
I was like, hey, there's keys over there, Reese, can you grab it? And he was like, yeah, and he just grabbed it. That was it.
Nice.
Sorry.
No, I was just asking because I've never done one before, and I guess I don't know what the kind of like general vibe is, because to me they just seem corny. Like
they're always gonna be corny, but it depends on like the better your group dynamic, the more fun you'll have with it.
Yeah.
It'll amplify your group dynamic. Like if you're all just like if you can tolerate everyone around you, like you're with coworkers or something, it'll be pretty miserable.
Yeah.
Or pretty boring, I guess.
Well, I did a remote escape room today, and I had never done a normal one before, so
remote.
Yeah, it's remote, and it was super weird because I had already gone in with this kind of negative idea of what it would be like, and then seeing it being remote, and then it's kind of like the social thing of just like, oh god, I'm locked in to cringe for an hour of like, I can't leave this, and I'm gonna hate this.
Cringe locked.
Yeah. And
that's school all over again.
This man was in lockdown and cringed down.
Cringe down.
Anyway, it was this thing of basically a person really was in the escape room, and they were wearing a 360 camera on their head, or it was a 180 camera, right? So we can see full field of view kind of in the room, and we can tell them to do things. Hey, look at this. Hey, look at that. Go over there, read this. And so there was also a web app. We had like this session in this room, and all of us were in it, and we had this kind of group inventory, like it was a point and click adventure. And they were all these things were labeled, and for example, ours was paintings, and so it's like, oh, look at that painting over there, and then they would read the little information thing below it, and then we would get a new item in our inventory, which was like the high res scan of that thing, and it was like immediate, the way that they kind of synchronized all that, and it was actually really cool, you know. It was a little strange because you could tell that the lady who was doing the camera had, well, she's obviously done this before, she knows how all of them are solved, so there were times where she kind of like looked in one particular area where obviously that was the thing, because she just knew that was, so we kind of got like cheats.
Oh, some bias there.
Yeah, because she just knew what to do, right? And all that kind of stuff. But it was actually a really interesting experience, and I liked it quite a bit. It's kind of one of those things where I imagine an escape room just doesn't work remote, but they kind of, you know, given the circumstances, they like pivoted and did something really cool. So I don't know, I just wanted to mention that. I thought it was really cool. Remote escape room.
We should once everything goes back to, in quotes, normal, I think we should do an escape room. They're super. I really enjoyed them. Like, they are kind of campy.
Yeah.
But like, if you can be kind of goofy while you do them, it's
Well, that rage room that we went to, the guy said that they do a escape room too, and he advertised it to some family as being, quote, fuck hard. So that sounds pretty cool.
Fuck hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did actually verbatim say that.
God.
Verbatim.
Yeah, they're fun. We did one at I don't want to say the name one because that kind of pinpoint. Oh no, wait, no, they know we're in Tucson. In the Slaughterhouse, they do one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is so gimmicky though. Every time I hear their ads, it's like the Slaughterhouse and like a lady screaming in the back. I'm over it.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's not like super spooky. It was fun though, just from like they set it up well. I thought just like it was like a series of rooms. It wasn't like you're locked in like a room. You gotta figure out to get out of that one room. You had to like, they were like a set of rooms you had to get out of.
Yeah.
You know,
so it's kind of cool.
I think doing a drunk escape room would be fun.
Dude,
It'd be a shit show.
the
but
short tempers.
So bad at it, Alex.
It'd be hilarious. Joseph would get angry within like 10 seconds.
I would be.
Or I'd start hugging everybody.
Yeah.
One or
I'd
the
just be
other.
sitting and laughing to myself quietly. I'd be like, oh, bro.
That was all for.
You guys ready to move on to home games?
Yes, home game stuff.
All right.
Music is playing right now, Alex. That's why we're just saying nothing.
Oh shit! Alright.
Okay, Yazeed, you go.
All right, so I looked at Joseph's PR, realized that it was going to take me way too long to review it, so I was like, I'll review this later.
It's like 3,000 lines.
Then I was like, all right, I'll review this this coming week. So I'll review it this week.
Okay.
And then I was like, all right, I need Alex to review. I want Alex to review my actions PR before I do the same for Squish.js.
Oh yeah.
Like that one. So I'm gonna wait for Alex to look it over and then like make any tweaks so I can just kind of like duplicate the process over for it. So I don't need to do double the work basically. Yeah. So I kind of like held off on that. So instead what I did was I continued working on the Who Tweeted That Tweet game. I have a couple questions around text.
Sure.
Can we make it bigger?
Yes, that's in the PR.
Okay.
Size.
Can we change the color?
Size, color, shadow. Font is coming too, but not right now.
Okay. Can we control the line breaks?
No, you got to make separate things for that. Separate text nodes.
Okay. That explains. I was like, this is just running into the darkness.
Yeah, it'll.
I can't prevent this.
So the new thing it does is it'll take your text and it'll take the size, and the size is each character is this percentage of the screen. So if you have 100 characters, for example, and your size was 1, and you said 0, 0, it would fit it to the entire width of your thing, and it calculates the width of the text and all that kind of stuff for the text box. But it doesn't do any kind of fancy line wrap, line break stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So none of that color and stuff is coming. Questions about color and size. Color, are we just relying on the colors that we have right now? Or do we have a way of getting like a complementary color?
No, it just takes a single RGBA value for the color. So that's just pulled from colors.
Oh. Okay. Oh, wait. Is it... sorry, it takes in its own color, or do you mean like it takes in like the arrays that we have pre-built?
Well, those are just consts of RGBs.
Of colors.
Yeah.
So you can just like build your own array.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the font size, are we controlling like how are we doing the font size for it? Do you know? Do you remember?
Yeah, so it'll take the number that you give it and say it'll like dynamically calculate the width for each client based off of the actual screen width and stuff, but it's all percentages. So if I say size is 5 and I have some number of characters, each character is 5% of the width.
Okay, cool. All right, so then what I'm going to do is pause working on the Twitter game because I can't. Like, I literally, some of those, like, I couldn't read anymore because it was just running off into the darkness, and I was like, I don't know how to fix this anymore. Yeah. So, okay, I'll just switch to reviewing what I should have done this week anyway. I'll review your PR and then hopefully get it merged in. Hopefully Alex can review my actions one, and before we merge in yours, I'll put out a PR for the Squish one for you and Alex to review, and then that can get merged in as well.
I can also look into line break stuff if you want. I mean, that seems like it'd be helpful.
I mean, I think it kind of would. Basically, like, just a way of saying, like, is this going to run over the edge of the containing thing? But it's, like, something we talked about earlier where, like, the position of the text is positioned to the whole
Absolutely.
Screen as opposed to just that node. Yeah. So I think there isn't a way for us to say, like, don't run over the edge of this. I think we'd have to do it as, like, separate nodes.
Yeah. We don't have the kind of overflow that you would have in CSS, an overflow X, overflow Y, or like line, any of that kind of stuff either. It's just like, nope, you have this box, and if it goes out, it goes out.
It'll just expand horizontally. Okay. Yeah, and I think that from our earlier conversation about like the positioning on these things, I do agree with you. It should be absolute, and so okay. Yeah. That works. Multiple nodes, but I'll just store that for myself for later.
But I am going to have to add the guts for relative positioning when I do. I think we talked about this generally like in a very vague way before, but like the fact that the root has this kind of wrapper of a TV bezel and a home button and some other stuff, and the games are all still built to assume that they have entire 0 0 to 100 screen, in order to avoid needing to account for the home games wide border there. They need to basically have relative positioning from that root. But yeah, that's something I've been looking into. Seems kind of doable, just not really easy with the current structure that we have. It feels like a hack to add it in, so need to have a better way to do that. Yeah. Okay. So I was. Was that all, by the way, for you, Yazeed?
Yeah, that's all for me, man.
I had a thing where I also was supposed to be working on something else. I think I had mentioned that I was going to work on versioning, and I actually did look into that. There's a thing in NPM you can do aliases for packages and dependencies, so I can refer to a specific version that I have in my dependency tree. So we can probably expose some sort of interface for that in the games to just say that this is the version of Squisher that you depend on. Or Squish, I always say this. I always confuse those two, or say the same thing. Anyway, this is the version of Squish that you depend on, and so your game can always just pull that in when it's running, and you can have multiple versions in the same thing. So yeah, I did look into that. I also looked in your PR, and I saw that it was failing because npm run test doesn't work. So I wanted to fix that as well, to have a consistent way for that to work across different devices and stuff. But the other thing I was working on is, so I realized that at work and in this project and all this kind of stuff, all you really need is a way to say, here's what I'm working on, and this is when I think it'll be done, without all the kind of minutia that like something like Jira gives you, where it's like estimated time versus real time that you logged. So that way you can build a graph of how wrong you were in your estimates. That way you can have better meetings about fixing your. It's like that stuff is such garbage to me, and I don't care. It's all just taking away from the thing of like, I'm fixing this bug, I'm doing this thing, I'm doing this whatever. And I like really hate the question, what are you working on? It gives me anxiety, and I don't know why, but I just hate the question. So if you have,
what are you working on, Joseph?
if you have all of this stuff, so this is not necessarily home games related, but it'll help us, I think. So if you have all this stuff that you have in GitHub somewhere, I have a wiki, I have a PR, I have an issue, I have all this stuff. These are resources that I can access at a GitHub URL, some resource URL, HTTP, whatever. But really, I just want to have a simple view of what I'm doing right now. And so I started building this app where I don't really know how I'm going to architect any of it yet, but you sign in with GitHub, and you can build some sort of a team, right? Some sort of organization, and you can have a role within that team to be able to create or whatever. But all you're doing is it's a fixed size board, and you're putting up fixed size notes onto this board that are shared between everybody. Everybody can see, and the notes are limited to 60 characters. It's just a small number, but like very quick. What are you doing? And time remaining. And the time remaining is not a number. It's just hours, days, and weeks. Because that way, I think it'll give us, you and me, a good way of like, what is he working on right now? And then here's a quick, like basically a half of a tweet about what he's working on. And it's linked to some other GitHub thing that I can look into more deeply if I want. But like, here's the active work board. And keeping all that stuff super simple, so there's not many things to tweak. It would be easy to just keep everything focused of like, what are you working on? How long is it going to take? That's all you want to know. So I started working on that. It's just called Workboard. It's my repo in my GitHub account. So I'm hosting it on Pico de Gallo, so it'll be at Pico de Gallo /workboard. We will have our thing there. So it'll also be publicly viewable. So people who aren't us can go and see what we're currently working on as like an up-to-date thing outside of this podcast.
Oh, nice.
So I'm working on that to help us track our tasks better, because we can make GitHub issues and GitHub tasks or GitHub whatever things, but how do I see them in a nice way that I don't have to dig into?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine eventually GitHub will add something like that in, but yeah, I agree. Right now we need.
They're just going to buy my project for millions, and then that'll fund home games.
Microsoft might, actually. You joke, but Microsoft might. That's like kind of their model. Well, because like it's hard for me to keep track of some of the stuff I'm working on. It's like technically I'm like, okay, so I'm setting up CI. I am building the unit tests. I'm building the who tweeted that tweet game. I am reviewing your PR, and I am actually I think that's it for right now. It's like that I'm doing 4 things, and just like remembering like these are the 4 things I'm responsible for home games right now. And then if I finish one of them, it's like I need to add another one, and then like, or I need to add another one anyway, or I need to take some of these away, or like whatever. Like,
yeah, and I
I
think
don't know. It's hard to keep remember all that stuff anyway. On top of like work and life.
Yeah.
Like,
I think another thing of having it being a fixed width is that at a certain point you're going to have so many things on the board, you're going to realize like it's not going to be like, hey, you have too many things on the board, but just out of the realization that you have no space on this thing, you'll realize maybe you shouldn't be adding more to the board. So it's kind of like this thing of not overwhelming yourself because it's always there. If it's there, you're working on it type thing.
I think you're gonna need a personal one for each PR where it's like, what is this PR for? And you're gonna have to. It's gonna be like it's gonna be like 3 long, and you're gonna have to like put them in there. Or you're gonna get really good at like a thesaurus, and you're gonna be like really in depth in those 60 characters.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I want to see how it works out. Obviously, it's not like a big project or whatever. It's just this kind of one simple thing. I already have the GitHub integration stuff working. I just need to kind of build a little API to handle all those off calls because I need like the client secret, my client secret, and I'm not going to put that into the browser. So I need to have the API being able to do all that stuff. So anyway, that's where it's at. I'll probably have some updates on that next week, but ideally it's all obviously on my GitHub, so it's all open source. But ideally it's just something where people can just visualize things that they're doing elsewhere, which is what all I want to do.
Mm. Yeah. Did you review the PR for the adding the unit tests and the changes to and adding the changes to the NPM test?
Did you already fix that? I guess I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, you okay. So there's a PR that adds unit tests to home games, like the games and stuff.
I think I saw
and
that.
That one also changes. Yeah, okay. So if you approve that one, I'm just gonna go ahead and merge that in, and I'll rerun the workflow for the actions PR because that should fix it. So the actions should run.
Cool.
And then whenever Alex can look at it, like that would be nice because I think you approved that one too, the actions one.
Alex?
Joseph.
Oh
No, Joseph.
That's what because
Yes.
the NPM run test doesn't work on anything except my laptop.
Until I have a PR that fixes it. Once that gets merged in, that should resolve it, I think. Our setup, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna actually ask about that. Should we be running tests for that many node versions back, or should we limit it to like 1 or 2 instead of 3?
What's the?
I wasn't sure. Like that's just the defaults that GitHub gave me, and I was like, well, I don't know.
It's 12, 13, and 14, right?
Yeah.
Because 12 is the minimum that we need to run because we use .flat on the arrays, and that's only a thing in 12. So I think that makes sense because that's technically our supported versions. And maybe it is 10. Maybe it's version 9 that has flat in it. But either way, there's some older version that doesn't have that. Everything beyond that we need to support. I think every like supported version we should have in the testing.
Well, the one for flat, the array flattening only happens in the squisher, no?
Yeah, but that's still. Well, that's the node
right,
version.
But we don't unit test the squisher there. Yeah, we would only unit test the squisher in the Squish.js one. So we could leave.
The squisher is in home games. Squish.js is just the libraries.
Right. Squisher is used by home games, but the unit test wouldn't test the squisher there. It would the Squish.js unit test would test squisher. Yeah. So that one, we need to make sure that the unit tests cover the minimum and forward. Okay, that makes sense. Whatever the minimum supported version is.
But yeah, I think that's as old as we should go. Is the minimum we support, but every supported version we should test.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, as long as Alex doesn't see anything like super janky in there or something he thinks we should maybe add, then I think that PR is ready to go. And once I can show that the unit tests work and the actions do give us the green light.
Pull request. That's like the ideal thing to start with.
Yeah, I mean, especially because we don't have like a real CD yet, so like we don't distribute to anyone. So, I actually did have a question about something that you had mentioned in your PR, Joseph. Not your PR, but something you had talked about briefly was allowing people to have different versions of the squisher that they were using, or like different versions of stuff that they were using in their game.
Squish, yeah.
Yeah. So should we not have like a sunset version, like a minimum version, where we say like your game should use by minimum like this and up, basically, so that we can say like any game below this level, like we put in like a deprecated status, basically, where like somebody would have to manually get that version.
Yeah, I think we can have deprecated as in like it'll be marked maybe in the UI too as like this might be crusty and maybe it's bad, but as long as it's not a breaking change that we have, which I don't think we should really try to not introduce any breaking changes. Like everything should always be able to continue to run, which is like, isn't that like the JavaScript problem? Because everything came out with, and was supported by browsers at the beginning. It has to be supported forever and all that kind of stuff. So I guess just never make any mistakes, I think should be the goal, which is pretty easy.
We don't need a lot more unit tests.
But yeah, no, I think we should have maybe like a minimum suggested, and maybe you can mark something that has, you know, less than the minimum suggested because it might be slower. It might be because we might have new, faster APIs somewhere else. And we could always mark it as that. But I don't think we should just make them stop working unless we absolutely have to.
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to want some like .env files where basically like we mark down like what the minimum version, like the oldest like suggested, like what you said, like the oldest suggested version is basically like the minimum system requirements.
Well, I guess it's not specific.
Like you can get Doom to run on a toaster, but it's not going to be good.
Yeah, it'd be like 2 FPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, what was I going to say? I don't know. I was going to say something, but then I forgot it. But yeah, we should do exactly that. We should deprecate things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I think just flag a game as like this is using a deprecated version, like so it might be a little bit.
We should publicly shame developers. Like, don't play this busted garbage. They're using old APIs.
Don't play this garbaggio game. I like it. I like the approach.
Yeah.
I mean, on like one hand too, like because it's open source, anyone could pick it up. Like if somebody like really loved that game and suddenly it's been deprecated, it's not like, well, in theory they should be able to be like, I'll figure out how to update the version of this.
Yeah.
Because in theory, it could just be updating the metadata for it, and it should work.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the goal is not to introduce breaking changes regularly. It's to not. But the fact that we've already pushed big breaking changes, like
this is pre-launch
rectangular coordinates to. Well, I mean, yeah, but like we don't know like what we're gonna run into. Oh.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying though. The thing I was going to say is that you said it would be like a .env file. I suppose you could do that on a per kind of deployment basis and say, for me and my home, we accept version 0.420 and up, which is like from the beginning. But then on like the official one, we support something different. But I think maybe that can look something like, because all that really is us saying this is the thing right now, and that can change tomorrow and that can change next week. So if we have just something like some config that we have out there that is just pulled by default that we update in S3 or some other thing, then everybody's just pulling this default config, but then they can also just override it with their own if they want to and say, okay, well, I'm down for the broken versions too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we want to figure that out. That's not something we need to address right now. I was just curious about like the versioning side of it.
Yeah,
like,
never.
do we want to how we want to handle like basically like sunsetting a version? Yeah. So yeah, okay. That's all for me then for home game stuff.
Cool. Is it time for Song of the Week?
It is time for Song of the Week.
Song of the Week.
This is the one that's like. Do you want to start, Alex? Because I don't even know what's about to happen.
Alex's note on Song of the Week is the word coom, and it's bolded. Got it. Great, Yazeed's turn.
So I have quite a bit to talk about here. So I'm gonna, instead of talking about like my current song of the week, I'm gonna talk about your previous two, and then I'll talk about mine.
Okay.
So Gucci Mane, Gucci Land, right? There's some lines in there that I wanna just throw out there. Tailor made. I don't do the cleaners no more. Now, is this man saying one out of two things? Does he only wear his clothing once, or does he just never wear his clothes again? Or sorry, like right? Or does he just never clean his clothes? Like, I can't tell if it's like he's so wealthy he only wears his clothes once, or he's not wealthy enough to go to the cleaners. But then it says tailor-made, so he's like getting his clothes tailored, but then like having to hand wash them. Like, what's the deal here?
Maybe he says the cleaners like the regular laundromat. Like I don't put my things in regular washing machines anymore. I got to go to the dry cleaner, or I got to go to the whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
That's just a guess.
Okay. They also emphasize the word toes in this song, and I don't like that. I really don't like it. And then the last line I wanted to bring up was, I sleep in the coop and I'm rich as a whore, right? Now, here's the problem with that. Sleeping in your car is like the opposite of being insanely wealthy. Like, that's the sign of being like not wealthy. And then whores usually aren't that wealthy. Like, usually the Johns are the wealthy ones, right? Like, the pimps are the wealthy ones. They could, like, a really high-end one, maybe, but like...
He doesn't say what kind.
If you're sleeping in a car, like... Yeah.
It could be like a different kind of whore, you know, not necessarily the traditional sense.
What is the other... What?
Like...
What would be the any...
Like if you sell
kind?
out, right? Like you're whoring yourself out for money, people say. It's like, oh, bro, you went corporate, bro, or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay. You know?
Okay.
And then it's like, yeah. This is next level.
Joseph is the big brain rap man over here. But then what's the sleep in the coop?
So this is
the
the big lifestyle flex. He's saying that he's living so wild, so reckless as a 28-year-old man in America. He sleeps in the coop, and you would think like, wow, that's a bummy thing to do. But he's like, and I'm rich as a whore. You know, he's like, fuck, I live like this, and I'm rich too. Like, this is how wild I am. You know.
Oh my god, I actually just thought about this right now. Is he saying that he sleeps in his car and that means like somebody else is driving it so he can just sleep in his car?
No.
Wait a second. That's like some big brain. Is that, do you think that's actually what he's talking about? Is like he's so wealthy he sleeps in his car like while it's moving, therefore somebody else is driving it?
I have no clue. I just know Young Thug. Yeah.
I've had listen, at this point I've had like 40 episodes trying to learn how to decipher rap, and I've not improved at all. It's like comical how bad I am at this.
You'll get there, especially with Young Thug. Young Thug is fascinating because he does his songs like he freestyles them off the top of his head. So to say a line like that, I'm sure he had some sort of weird intention when he said it, but it's hard to decipher what he meant because I sleep in the coop and I'm rich as a whore. Like, what doesn't make any sense, you know? You kind of gotta kind of go deeper, really dig into what he's saying.
I guess that makes sense. So overall, didn't really enjoy this song. It's just very funny. So I mean, there's that. Juice WRLD's Wishing Well, though, really enjoyed that one. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm just a fan of Juice WRLD. I like sad stuff, and that song is pretty sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah, listen to, I would say, pretty much any Juice WRLD album if you're because you seem to like his whole style, so I would say you should look into his stuff.
I think you recommended like all of Juice WRLD to me, basically.
Yeah, he's got so much good stuff.
The like lyrical depth, like I was looking at, because I had to pull up the lyrics for both these songs, so I was just wanted to know what's going on. Juice WRLD's lyrics like this long. Gucci Mane's is like there's like a scroll bar you have to go down. It's like so dense.
Gucci Mane is like 5 minutes long. Just like,
yeah, it's like, but rap music is so much more dense lyrically than the music I listen to. Like, just realizing like the visual of that is incredible to me on some level. Because like most of the songs I listen to, their lyrics are like actually like this long. Like it's like 4 or 5 sentences basically.
Yeah.
Oh, she's barking.
If you want to hear music without any density, it's very sparse, but still has words. Listen to the song "Wanna" by Gunna.
I think you recommended this to me.
No, I've recommended Gunna songs, but "Wanna" I think is a bad song. So if you want to, no, that's "Womp Womp" by Valet. No, that's a great song. Valet is cool, but this song is just Gunna, Wanna, Hunnas, commas. Tunnels. And it's just fucking one word. Like, it's like half bars every single time. That's the whole song. It's like he's about to fall asleep. So that is the opposite of that. You can go look up the lyrics, and it's probably about that long.
I don't know if I'm into
It's really
that.
not good. You should listen to it.
But my song of the week this week is Love Like This by Indian Summer featuring Lastlings.
Okay.
It is back to my roots a little bit and indie pop nonsense, but it's definitely like more high energy than I think that you're used to. So yeah.
Just to refresh Alex, I talked about how Yazeed loves indie pop and that's like his go-to, and now he just shits on it every time. He's like, yeah, my taste is stupid. You're probably gonna hate this, but listen to this. It's probably bad.
I'll have you know, Lastlings is actually from New Zealand, so
Nice.
I don't know where Indian Summer is from, but I listen to. So let me explain. I like music that's very similar. A lot of indie pop is very similar. I like music that doesn't have like a lot of lyrical depth to it because I listen to it when I'm doing other stuff. So indie pop doesn't really have a lot of that either. It's mostly like just head bopping. I have not. How do you spell that? I'm gonna change your song of the week to this. Caro Bonito.
Indie pop. But me and Jimmy really liked it for a while.
Whoa.
Nice.
It's I'm about to graduate from college into the oh god, it's not that much different.
Caro Bonito. What an
Okay.
idiot.
I'll check it out.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I like indie pop. I kind of downplay it because I know Joseph at some level is going to get frustrated because so many of my songs sound similar.
I'm not frustrated at all. I just think it's hilarious when you're just like, yeah, this is my favorite thing and it fucking sucks, I bet.
This is actually one of my favorite songs. I think it's been like my top played now for like 4 or 5 months, but it's never been like my best, like my number one of the week. So, but it really is. I really do enjoy this song. I think you'll probably at least bob your head to it.
Okay. I like bobbing my head. I kind of bob my head to of Monsters and Men, Dirty Paws, which is the intro of that one album whose album artwork I've seen many times but never listened to. It's got the guy on the beach, looks hipstery as hell.
Yeah.
See, I don't get this song. Like, I get it. Like, I listen to it and I get the way it sounds. It sounds okay, kind of boring for my taste, whatever. But like, what's it about? Talking about like my head is an animal, and then a dragonfly ran away, which is an animal, and something about a loud animal and saying something, but it had something to say, it had a story or something. It's like what?
Okay. So I will, from memory, try to tell you the opening line. So my head is an animal line is just them, like it's just to set up their rhyme scheme because the name of the album is My Head is an Animal.
Okay.
So that's all that is, right? So there once was an animal that had a son who mowed the lawn. The son was an okay guy who had a pet dragonfly. Like I said, like all I was just to set
Oh, I
up
thought
like,
it
the
was a
rhyme scheme.
sound that could mow the lawn, like it was some weird abstract.
Oh.
But no, a sun that. Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, this thing is it's a person, but without saying that there was a person who has a son who has a pet dragonfly. The dragonfly runs away, but it came back with a story to say. Basically, this dragonfly leaves, comes back with a story to tell. It went to a forest of talking trees. I don't remember like the exact lines, but basically like this dragonfly leaves, goes to a forest, and it meets some trees who are singing a song about how the bees and the birds went to war with each other because the sky wasn't big enough for them all. The bees are winning, so the birds make friends with Dirty Paws and the creatures of snow, and then they the Dirty Paws end up killing the queen bee, and the war is won. The bees lose, and all that is just actually just an allegory for World War II. So the bees in this is Nazi Germany. This guy's not big enough for them all, like Lebensraum, and the birds in this case is the British because of the Blitzkriegs, like they're getting bombed, air warfare. And then the Dirty Paws is America, and the Creatures of Snow is the USSR. So all that kind of plays into it. So basically, this is all of that part is just a way of saying that there was a son who has a pet dragonfly who leaves, comes back, and tells him the story of World War II. So in a weird way, basically, it's like they didn't actually like participate in World War II. They just kind of heard about it from like somebody who went and saw what like the aftermath of it. And the forest that once was green is actually just a metaphor for what Europe used to be called, like the evergreen forest or whatever, because it was like the most popular, like prosperous part of the world at the time. And so it becomes black by the killing machines. Like literally all of that is literally just World War II. So the whole song is just a World War II stand-in. But yeah, well, the lines came to it. Yes.
I gotta listen to music more. I was just like, yeah, I don't get this. I'm gonna skip it.
I try to like coyly tell you that it's not like just what it is on face value. Like the whole song is just allegorical, basically. Yeah. I really like it. It's got like a lot of depth. It's like an onion, like an ogre.
Well, kind of the opposite of that. More like a fruit roll up. You know, it's sweet, but it's one thin thing. It's quick and it's done. Is Mood by Lil Uzi Vert. It's a leak of a song. It never actually, or I think it might have been released on SoundCloud officially, but it's not on Spotify. But it's I have a collection of songs that I have in a playlist, and it's all stuff that's leaked from Young Thug or Lil Uzi Vert or whoever over the years, but it's all stuff that you can't get on Spotify. And I rediscovered that playlist, and this song came on while I was in the car, and it's a perfect song to come on in the car because it's just it's the epitome. We've said this before, but it's the epitome of a vibe. You know, it's literally called Mood, so it kind of that's the whole thing.
Yeah. It's the feeling of a vibe.
Yeah, and it's a really good song, and it's super fun to listen to. That, and there's another song called Buy It, which is really great. It's dangerous to listen to if you're ever like contemplating purchasing anything, and you listen to Buy It. It's like, I'm gonna buy that thing. But yeah, Buy It and Mood, but Mood barely won this week because it's so good.
Okay,
highly recommend both.
I will check it out.
Yeah.
I like the part that you didn't mention where you said Synovia liked Dirty Paws.
Oh, yeah. Because I was listening to it on the laptop speakers out in the living room, and Synovia heard it, and she's like, oh my God, I love this song. You know, she had this whole thing because I guess she knows the band. She said she really likes the band and all this kind of stuff. So just wanted to add that, you know, you have a fan that shares the same thing in this house. Not me, though.
It's another one. Does she know that I didn't like anything that she recommended? Would you not tell her that?
Yeah, I told her that you said that the Savage remix, you heard it on TikTok and it should stay there. And she was like, whatever. Which is her like, yeah, you right.
It is better on TikTok. It's great.
Yeah. No, she's used to that stuff because I basically make fun of everything that she likes, like Beyonce and everything. So... She's used to it.
How did Beyonce get so popular?
I don't usually.
See, that's the part that I don't understand. Like, what was the timeline from her being a Destiny's Child to her being, like, having candles made out of her?
You gotta ask Synovia.
Not out of her, but, like, of her. Yeah, I realized that I worded that incorrectly. Yeah.
Yeah. She's also, like, a brand. I think we could probably get Synovia on, and she can tell you the whole story because she could go off about Beyonce for a long time.
Well, when Synovia co-stars again, I'll ask her about.
She said she'd be down to do more often. We have the whole setup now in the house to have both of us record.
Yes. Okay, that'd be perfect. So I can hear the true story of Beyonce's rise from just a member of Destiny's Child to the Queen Bee.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all for my song.
All right, I think that's all for us then. Yeah.
Yes. We're also doing a new thing where we have a proper outro. You want to try doing the outro for the very first time, Yazeed, or am I doing it, or what's the plan?
let me hear how you want to do the outro, and then I'll try.
Oh, see, now there's build up because we're talking about doing the outro. We're about to just jump into the outro. You know, there's no flow anymore. So let's just keep making it worse by talking about the outro.
So, I would like you to set the outro to a rhyme scheme when you do it. I don't know how you're gonna manage, but I would like to hear.
Well, homegames.io certainly rhymes with @homegames.io. And then I could say, Tynan is my favorite guy-o, you know? Something like that. My favorite.
Now, when I said rhyme scheme, I didn't mean just rhyme them all together. like there's like the A-B rhyme scheme. There's A-B-B-A.
Let's just go A. I'm just kidding. I don't know. We wanted to mention that our music is done by our friend Tynan. He is at Nightan on Bandcamp. NY.
That's, you know what? We should add that to here because I'm not going to remember that.
NYTAN on Bandcamp. That's all of our music. Everything that you hear on this. And our website is homegames.io, and our Twitter is @homegames.io. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week on this thing. See, I fucked it up at the end there. I didn't know what to call it.
Just repeat in the same.
You know what?
You know how I say it. Patch Notes, the Home Games Podcast.
Patch Notes, the Home Games Podcast. There's a specific way.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Home Game Podcast. That's the real cringe, Alex.
Games. Yeah, that's some real cringe. There's some real cringe.
All right,
everyone. Thanks for listening. Catch you next week. We'll workshop the outro. I'd like a rhyme scheme for it.